Hello and welcome to your build-up for West Ham United against Liverpool. Kickoff is 1 hour and 5 minutes away, which means the lineups are out in 5 minutes. We'll discuss them as they come out, but as it stands, there could be a late change in the West Ham starting 11. If there isn't a late change, there's 2 changes to the team that started against Wolves. One of those changes, Gonzo, is no Marco Arnautovic. He has a bruised foot. So he's not playing tonight. I mean, how big is this? Let's forget about his contract thing for 1 minute. It's done. It's dealt with. The transfer window's shut. He could still leave China, but let's assume he's not. Our main striker is not playing tonight.
Yeah, you don't want to be playing football with a sore toe. Let's be fair. I mean, and to be honest with you, the way it was reported and the way it was looking and the way it went off, certainly for a couple of hours afterwards, people thought he was going to be missing for the whole of the season. So I guess he'll miss this game and he's back for Palace. I'd imagine will be the news, unless it's some rare bruising of which the like with which we've never seen before. But does it matter? Not if he was going to play like he did before he picked up his bruising. That wouldn't matter really, would it? He was not really interested, so we didn't know what Arnautovic was going to turn up anyway. So I guess the question is, who's starting ahead of him?
Well, I'll tell you that in 4 minutes. Listen, I don't want to give anything away. That's naturally my job. Okay, so I cannot give anything away as to who's starting up front. But I think this is a big blow in a way for West Ham. But you can look at this in 2 ways. One, we're missing our top striker. We were going to score tonight. You said to West Ham fans, who would score? People would say Arnautovic. A fit and motivated Arnautovic is one of the best strikers in the league. But like you said, if the one against Wolves turned up, then there's not much point in being on the pitch, really. But this sort of gives a little bit of a difference into, well, someone's going to get a chance now. If someone's going to come into the starting 11 up front, it might be the little Mexican. We'll find out for sure, but I think it's the little Mexican. But if Hernandez does get his chance up front, he's got to take it. You know, he's one of these players that was linked with a move away. Pellegrini said in his conference that there was more players than just Arnautovic whose head was a little bit messed up in the transfer window. He is clearly talking about Hernandez out of everybody else. Perez, yes, but Hernandez is one of those players. His transfer window is shut. Well, Arnautovic can still go to China. Hernandez ain't going to Spain now. It's done. You're here until May. We need to see a motivated one. And the thing is, I thought until his injury before Christmas, I thought we were seeing a motivated Hernandez. I thought I seen a Hernandez putting himself about. He was looking good. He was looking as best as he has done at West Ham over more than just one game. It's his opportunity tonight. But has this given us little hope to no hope with no Arnautovic?
Well, I don't know, because I do think there are question marks hanging over a lot of our strikers: Arnautovic, Hernandez, Perez, and Carroll. And the question mark is really not about ability. Well, not 3 of them, certainly. The question mark is drive and motivation. You've got what you said about Hernandez is right. Is Hernandez going to be able to switch his mood? I mean, that takes a strong character to think I'm on my way, to want a transfer, and then to actually just immediately flick a switch and say, all right, you know what? I'm here for the next 6 months. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give everything. You've got to be a good, strong character with a positive mindset. I'm not sure everybody is, and not just in football. Are they? I just wonder where their motivation is. And actually, the only person who probably is motivated, not just to play for the shirt, but to play for themselves, is probably the kid. Is Silva. He is probably the only person who has got something to prove. He's got his whole career ahead of him, and I think you could be confident that if he came on, he wouldn't just sort of stand around and with hunched shoulders, a bit sulky. He would have a good attitude. I think there is question marks over the attitude of everybody else. So it's a roll of dice and take your chances, because actually Hernandez, Carroll, Perez, Arnautovic, I think it's much of a muchness. We know that Hernandez can score goals. We know on his day he can be one of the best strikers in the world. Have we got sulky Hernandez in the same way as have we got sulky Arnautovic? You know, who bloody knows, mate?
To be fair, I will defend Carroll here. I think he's motivated. Maybe it is for himself, i.e. he needs a new contract. But whenever I've seen him on the pitch for West Ham, I have absolutely no doubts he's given 100% for the shirt over the years when he's fit. The problem is keeping him fit. Do you know something, actually? The game against Wolves, Andy Carroll played his 13th game in a row. For 13 games he was fit, which was the first time he's done that in 3 years. So tonight's game number 4. Tonight's either 13 or 14. But anyway, whichever one it is, I don't know how long it's been since he's done this much. But Pellegrini's now kept him fit the longest he's been in over 3 years. The problem is he just doesn't fit the manager's plans. If this was like an Allardyce for a Moyes manager, we'd all be licking our lips at Andy Carroll. We're thinking, great, he's fitter than he's been for 3 years now. He's up front, he's in form. But the thing is, we've now got the manager who's got him fit, but you can't use him. You couldn't make it up. I almost feel sorry for Carroll. But the lineup should be out in literally a couple of seconds. So we're away to find out if it is, in fact, Javier Hernandez up front, which is what I've been told. And the late change has happened. The late change, what the starting 11 was going to be before the late change was Fabianski in goal, Aaron Creswell coming back into left back, he's fit, Ogbonna and Diop in the middle, and then Anderson, Rice, Noble, Snodgrass in midfield, Antonio either in midfield or up front, with Hernandez up front. But the late change, no Zabaleta. Zabaleta, I believe, is he's on the bench, but he was supposed to start earlier today. But Fredericks is starting right back. Remains to be seen if it's injury or tactical, but Zabaleta was meant to be starting earlier. What do you make of the starting 11, Gonzo?
Listen, at the risk of repeating myself, it worries me the lack of creativity in the middle. I've said it again. I won't labour the point. The Zabaleta thing, do you know what? I would have preferred Zabaleta in the team, but it might work out in our favour. I think there's an opportunity for Fredericks here. He's a speed merchant. And he's up against a speed merchant. Well, a couple of them, to be fair. So it might well serve us quite well, him being there. How good is he tactically, defensively? Well, we don't know. We're about to find out, I guess. But we spoke earlier about the strikers and their motivation or a point to prove. I mean, you look, Hernandez is either going to go out with a point to prove, or he's going to think, I've got nothing to prove to nobody. I'm Chicharito. I'm Javier Hernandez. I prove nothing to nobody. I am world class. Fredericks will have a point to prove. He came in on a free from Fulham, and he'll be wanting to establish himself. Got a big injury, and now he's going to look. I don't see that as being wholly negative, I've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I need to start 11 earlier. The next West Ham employee told me just before we come on that there's a potential late change. Fredericks for Zabaleta. And I have to say, when I seen it, I didn't think, oh no. I just thought, well, actually, it gives us something going forward. Too often going forward, we're a bit one-dimensional. We can come down the left. Zabaleta gets forward, but he's not got that attacking threat of what a modern fullback might have. And also, Fredericks up against Sadio Mane tonight, and there's an opportunity there because as much as I like Mane going forward, he's not the best at getting back and tracking back. So Fredericks can zoom down that line. He will get a couple of chances to cross it. Now, the big question mark for me is, how is Pellegrini setting up? Is he going 4-4-2 with Antonio and Hernandez up front? Which I'm going to say, like against Wolves, I think that would be suicidal tonight. I think Noble and Rice will not cope against this Liverpool team. I will tell you the Liverpool team in a second, which will give context to should we go 2 or 3 in the middle, I guess. Or is he going, Snodgrass in there with Noble and Rice, Antonio on the right, and Hernandez up front? But then the problem with that is Hernandez is on his own up front. And how often have we all sat on videos, not just us, West Ham Fan TV, ex-West Ham employee in his podcast, Bill, Bob, and Ben on social media going, Hernandez cannot play as a lone striker. That's sort of everybody's rule of thumb. And we've sort of been proven correct to point. What formation do you hope it is, Gonzo?
I was going to say past caring. That's not strictly true because I do care. I'm going to have the right if we lose, and I'll be ecstatic if we win. So clearly I care. I don't know. It's square pegs in round holes in terms of his formation. Yeah, maybe Antonio's got to get close to him, but then that leaves us. This is caught between a rock and a hard place, mate. If Antonio gets close up to Hernandez, Snodgrass plays wide, that leaves us with only 2 in the middle, and we get overrun. If Snodgrass goes in the middle and Antonio plays wide, then we've only got Hernandez up front. I'd like almost to see it to be a 4-3-3 if that's the case. With them very much being almost a front 3, if you like, so rather than it being a 5 across the middle, if that makes sense. If we're going to go for it, let's go for it. We're probably going to lose anyway. But if that's the case, Antonio is slightly wider rather than more central than he would be with a 4-4-2.
I think Antonio's got the biggest role tonight. I think when we're defending, he's got to turn into a right midfielder. He's got to fill out that flank. He's got to stop Robertson somehow. He has to. But when we go forward, he's almost got to become the second striker pretty quick. He's got to go from right midfield into a centre forward position and allow either Snodgrass to pull out to the right or Fred to just come down the line and provide the width from the right. I think Antonio's got the biggest role for West Ham tonight. And the thing is, though, it's going to be a very, very difficult role to fill. It's not an easy job to do. It's a lot of ground for him to cover. And if at some point, if he is tasked with tracking Robertson, then we're in a bit of trouble, really, because when Liverpool get the ball at the back, even, and I include the keeper in this, they're very quick at getting it out of their defence. And if Robertson gets 5 yards of space, they will give it to him. And if he's got a 5-yard head start on Antonio, he's going to be on the edge of our 18-yard line before anyone gets near him. So Antonio has a huge, huge role tonight, should that be it. I'm just a bit worried that Pellegrini's going 4-4-2. As much as I admire going toe-to-toe with Liverpool, I do think it's a little bit risky, suicidal. Wolves cut us apart. Liverpool are better than Wolves, and I think it's asking for trouble. But our bench, we'll whiz through this, won't talk about it. It's quite obvious, really. There's not that many fit players. Adrian, Masuaku, Andy Carroll, Zabaleta is on the bench. Obiang, Diangana, and Lucas Perez. So Zabaleta's probably there because there's no one really else to cover centre-back position. But let's move on to Liverpool. There's a surprise in the Liverpool starting 11, actually. Alisson is in goal, as you'd expect. The back four, Milner, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson, as you'd expect. And then up front, Salah, Firmino, Mane. But in midfield, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Fabinho, Keita, and Adam Lallana. Are you surprised to see Adam Lallana in there?
Well, I think everyone's surprised. I think Liverpool fans are probably surprised to see Adam Lallana in there. I think probably Shaqiri's surprised to see Adam Lallana in there. I can only guess that Henderson got a knock because Henderson played right back in the last one. So it possibly means that Milner's moved to right back and Lallana's coming. I think the thing about that team is it doesn't bode very, very well for us because maybe Milner might have played at right back and maybe Fabinho, who is a defensive type central midfielder, would have been alongside Henderson. So they would have had two stoppers there. Fabinho is going to play as the only holding player, and then you were going to have Keita and Lallana as attacking midfielders. Basically in support of Mane, Salah and Firmino, which is ridiculous, really. They're going for it, mate. They are going for the jugular.
I think they're going to miss Wijnaldum, actually. Wijnaldum's not on the bench, either is Henderson. So they're lacking on the bench, actually. They don't have many big players on there, as you might expect for a side chasing title to have. But I suppose Klopp's idea is we'll have the job done before we need to turn to the bench. Listen, I think Lallana used to be a fantastic footballer. I used to love watching him at Liverpool, and well, I used to think he played fantastic for England. I think he was your player of the calendar year a couple of years ago. As much as I don't like watching England do well, I thought Adam Lallana was everything I wanted Lanzini to be, almost. He has that trickery, he has that neat touches, he has that dribbling ability, the vision. He had it all. He's just been so injuries. It's been ridiculous, and I know a lot of Liverpool fans are fed up seeing him now. So it'll be interesting to see what Lallana turns up, whether we get the 2019 finished one or we get the guy from 2016 who was the finished article, if anything. But it's not the strongest Liverpool side I've ever seen, but they've got the big guns in there. They've got the three up front. I think Keita, well, he's getting a lot of critics. I think he's been more than okay for Liverpool, actually. When I've watched him, he's not had... He's just needed that little bit of luck. I just hope it doesn't come tonight. And the bench for Liverpool, as I said, I don't think it's that strong. These words will probably come back to haunt me. They've got Mignolet, Shaqiri, Camacho, Sturridge, Moreno, Origi, and Curtis Jones on the bench there. So no Henderson, no Wijnaldum, no fullbacks on the bench unless... this Camacho is a fullback. I'm not 100% sure who he is, in all honesty. No. But Gonzo, you've seen the lineups now. What's your final thoughts? And I believe you said 3-1 in the preview. Would you like to give me your revised score prediction?
I think I'll just stick with that, really. I've not seen anything in the West Ham team that would give me more confidence. That was, I think we needed a fitter, motivated Arnie to be up front. And it's not like there's been any surprise that we've had a bit of creativity. We haven't even got any surprise. He doesn't pluck a creative midfielder, maybe from the under-23s or something. There's no, I don't know what we're going to. Maybe we're going to shut up shop or just cross or some go for creativity from wide. I don't know. I think we're going to. If we're going to win, we're going to win in a quite un-Pellegrini way, which I don't really fancy that we'll do. I knew that they were going to be weak at right back, so really. I mean, Lallana, yes. I mean, you could look at it as a positive for West Ham, but also I do look at it and think, well, actually, that's one less attacking midfielder. They don't. That's one less defensive midfielder. They don't care. They're going for it today. So I still think 3-1.
we've got two massively motivated teams here for completely different reasons. You've got one side in horrendous form, who really needs a win before fans start getting even grumpier. And then we're going to a side that next week we play Palace, who had a little bit of upturn in their form recently, and also they've just gotten and got a striker who we chased. I mean, it's the worst thing ever to play Palace next weekend. We really need to get something on the board today. When I say something on the board, I don't necessarily mean points. We need to at least give it a go. We get beat 3-2 tonight, and we're unlucky. I think most fans will give the credit to Pellegrini and the players and say, listen, you know what, we had a couple more fit players, we might have got something out of that. But let's just not see what we've seen in the last 3 games against Bournemouth, Wimbledon, Wolves, where we've had about 2 shots on target in the league. Well, 1 shot on target in the Wolves and the Bournemouth games combined. We've got beat by the bottom side in League One purely because they wanted it a little bit more than we did. But like I said to Gonzo in the preview, Antonio in particular opened his mouth and said they get up for the top 6 teams. Well, let's see it. We need to see it tonight. We need to see you up for this one. We need to see it on the pitch, because if you don't, your own words are going to come back and haunt you a little bit here. I'm going to stick with 3-1 Liverpool as well, purely because even if we turn up tonight and give 100%, we should still get beat 3-1. If Liverpool turn up and match us for effort, etc., they should win. So I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool, and just cross my fingers that we're putting a performance to be proud of tonight and not embarrassed about. But you can join myself and Gonzo on this channel in a couple of hours' time, straight after the full-time whistle goes, where we will be talking about the result, hopefully a positive performance and result from West Ham United, although we're not too optimistic at present. Anyway, we'll catch you then. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and we'll see you in a couple of hours.